everybody's favorite skateboarder ever in the world, was just, I guess, technically announced to be turning pro. Taylor Silverman for the Boonies, a brand started by none other than everybody's second favorite bald person, because, Tim Pool. I think that this board is for his cat. I don't know a lot about Tim Pool, but I think this is for his cat. And then obviously this is a don't tread on me thing. Confused with yeah, I guess. I was trying to think of the direction of this brand is, we are conservatives and skateboarding is too woke for us, so we're doing our own thing. This is like men going their own way, but this is skateboarders going their own way. You know what I mean? So that's what this is. She was also Taylor Silverman was also recently on she had like a little interview on something, and she was talking more about what she all of the stuff that she had like going on with her whole thing. So I turned the audio on. Why are you not?
I had to put my trust in God.
Okay. Oh, I hate this.
I had to put my trust in God. I had to do my best to maintain my faith that God is on our side, or rather we're on God's side here.
This is kind of like a crazy thing to think, but I don't know how much God hates trans people. I'm just going to throw that out there. I think that might be a little bit made up by certain people. I don't think God actually hates anyone. Every time I pause, it's going to mute it. It's dog shit.
That God is on our side, or rather we're on God's side here. There are a lot of lies being spread in the world today, but the truth is a lot stronger than that. My message to parents is, if you don't speak up for your girls, if they're impacted by males invading their sports or spaces, whatever it may be.
When is this happening, though? When is it happening? Like, it's always just kind of like arbitrarily gestured toward. It's never a real thing that's actually happening. It's always just this like, oh, there are males coming into the... Where is this happening?
To your girls that they...
Oh my God.
That they are not important enough to you to protect, and that you don't respect them, and they need your help here. They need your voice. To the athlete.
This is always like the insane framing, right? Because everybody who is like, oh, these males are dominating like women's sports and stuff like that, don't care about women's sports either. They don't care about the space at all. So being like, oh, you don't respect women, neither do you. God, I hate that it mutes it. I hate Instagram.
Your voice. To the athletes, I want you to know that if you speak up about this, you will receive support. It's not something anybody wants to do. I didn't want to speak up about this.
I doubt that. I doubt. You know how much money this guy? Nobody would know who you are. Legitimately, nobody would know who you are if you didn't speak up about it.
Speak up about this. I didn't want the attention that came with it, the harassment that came with it. But when you do the right thing, it feels a lot better. When I didn't speak up, I felt a lot of guilt about it, knowing that it would continue happening. Nobody would know that it happened to me, and knowing that nobody was advocating for all the other women who competed in this contest. And a huge weight was lifted from my shoulders just by telling the truth. I really believe that we have made progress in this movement of spreading the truth and getting people back to reality and back to sanity. And the more people who join this fight, the easier it's going to be.
It's just so stupid, dude. I don't know, man. I've seen like every women's skate contest that's on like the professional level in the last few years, and I've never seen a trans woman competing in any of them. Yeah, that's my big issue with her. It's not just the transphobia. You remove everything about like you can push everything that you can deem to like political away from the entire conversation. What Taylor Silverman did was she brought awareness to somebody that nobody really knew existed. Um and then not only did she bring a whole lot of attention her way, it was a whole lot of negative attention. And so when the most attention you are ever receiving in your life is people literally coming at you for an immutable characteristic and calling you just like the most unhinged, disturbing things you've ever been called in your life, and it is the biggest wave of attention in general you've received, but when it's all that attention, it got to the point where she deleted all of her social media accounts, and she even asked the Border to take her page off of their website. Now the thing about the Border, let me pull up the Border here for people. I don't know, this is just random dude, right? So this is a Border profile. This is this random dude. It tells you their ranking in the world, in their division, the global ranking, sponsors, age. It'll have your Instagram and how much you've earned and like all little details about you, all your results. You notice there's nowhere to leave comments on this entire thing. That's the whole thing about the Border. So the trans woman that competed against Taylor Silverman and got first place told the Border to take her page off of a website that you can't even leave comments on. And like you can see here, this guy's Instagram section is blank. She didn't just ask for like the Instagram to be blanked out. She asked for it to literally no longer, like the whole thing to just no longer exist. At least the last that I searched. Yeah, she's not on here anymore. They literally, like, she literally asked them to remove it. And so like you get rid of like all of that, right? Here's the thing. You again get rid of all of the like political sides of like all of this, and you just go down to just the pain at scale that was caused in general. You can get rid of all of the little anything about identity, anything political that you want from this whole entire thing. If you run somebody off the internet for seemingly doing something that wasn't really all of that harmful in like when it comes to like real world harm, if you run somebody off of the internet for no real good reason, I think that you're a massive piece of shit. I actually think you're one of the most evil people alive when you do that and then you run around and you make yourself the victim in the situation. These are like legitimate abuse tactics in that regard. And like Tim Pool too, like, you know, like him being around her as well. This is a guy who is consistently spreading a lot of transphobic rhetoric on his show consistently. He's doing weird shit. He's like weirdly defended a lot of really strange things that you can watch a lot of other people cover. And a lot of the time, whenever you hear him talk about something, it is literally just, what? I just like, it blows my mind whenever I see anything of him talking ever. So I just wanted to interject here in this little part here because I don't really substantiate Tim Pool consistently pushing transphobic rhetoric with anything more than the example of what you're going to see in this video. So I'm going to do that by talking about something that happened that I didn't know until I stopped streaming with the stream that you're seeing this segment from. So, one thing that happened in the world this week was that on Sunday, the 11th, there was a woman who fired a gun at a child in the Lakewood Church, which is the mega church of Joel Osteen. When this happened, Tim Pool and a lot of other right wing talking figures said that the shooter was trans. The only piece of information that could lead people to believe this is that for some reason, I didn't really see it substantiated that far, but she's gone by male aliases in the past, just using a male name to do something, which doesn't mean anything. People do stuff like this all the time if they're doing illegal activity. And investigators have come out and said that she is a cis woman, or was, I should say. She died in this shooting, and she's believed to be the mother of the child who was shot. The shooting happened Sunday. Tim Pool uploaded his video on Monday. It is now Thursday morning when I am recording this interjection, and it's going to be Friday when it comes out, and I don't expect this to change. Tim Pool has not corrected this information at all. The people that watch him for their information still are going to go around believing that this woman is trans. And I don't expect him to ever correct himself on anything like this. It's kind of beneath him in his mind, and it'll affect his image as a person if he ever concedes to information that he doesn't already know before he hits the record button. He's not somebody who likes to deal with new information. You can watch him talk to people like Emma Vigilant from The Majority Report or Lance the Serfs, and in those conversations, whenever they were bringing counter evidence to his points, he just shot them down immediately every single time. So yeah, I just wanted to throw this in there as well because I kind of said that and didn't substantiate it, and people are going to be like, well, where's your evidence of this otherwise? And here it is. But they've got this whole thing, the Boonies HQ. This is their little skate park adventure thing. And yes, Richie Jackson is a part of this. They get other people involved. What the fuck was that? What is this guy? And yes, Ricky Glazer hung out with these dudes. Ricky Glazer is somebody that I literally did not really think. I didn't think like super highly of him, but I didn't think, just because he's like a YouTuber dude who's with Braille, I didn't immediately just like expect the worst out of him. But like, yeah, he's skating with the Chuds basically, which was kind of a bummer to see. And they got a scooter dude. Where's the, here it is. Taylor with the hippie shove. Professional level material. That's another thing about this too, is like Taylor by no means is a professional level skateboarder. She's just not. And that's not like the most damning indictment that you can have against somebody. I think somebody skating at her level and posting themselves skating on Instagram, and even if they get free gear, I don't think that that's the end of the world. I think that that's totally fine. Well, yeah, exactly. And we're going to find that out in a minute because I'm going to skim through a little podcast that they did as well. But the thing that really kind of is the problem is that, like, again, I don't understand anybody who thinks any of this shit is cool. They don't have very many people who think this shit is cool. They have like 2,000 subscribers on YouTube and 3,500, about 3,600 followers on Instagram, which is like minuscule, teeny tiny. I know I'm small. I'm fucking small in comparison to that. But like, in comparison to Tim Pool's reach as like a YouTuber and a podcaster and all of that, this is teeny tiny for them. In comparison to his reach, like is like a super small thing. But like anybody who actually thinks this is cool, I don't really get it from like the main standpoint of like, it's just not like a mindset for skateboarding where you think you deserve a whole bunch of shit. And especially when you skate at Taylor Silverman's level, nobody that I've ever met that skates at that level or lower or slightly higher or whatever thinks that skateboarding owes them anything. And that's kind of the mindset that's here, is like you're owed shit by skateboarding. You know, as the great Jake Phelps said once, skateboarding owes you wheel bite in the rain. And that's for everyone. But you see like a huge difference, right? And we're going to go into this, and I can already tell you what's going to be in this for the most part, is you're going to have a whole lot of people who they're going to be complaining about certain people existing in skateboarding, but those are people who have met skateboarding on its terms and done skateboarding like, I don't want to say the right way, but they didn't expect shit out of it. They got good at skateboarding and now they have the careers that they have. Whereas these guys in this sort of world, and it's such a bummer to talk about Richie Jackson in this regard, because like Richie Jackson's part in And Now was one of my favorites for like a super long time. And then he just turned into a weirdo. What I legitimately think about Richie Jackson too, like in this circumstance, is I see him as a little bit of like a lost puppy who wants to be a contrarian, and he like bought the whole like conservatives are the new punk rock thing a little bit, you know, like he thought, like he identified with that a little bit too much, and now he's hanging out with these types of people rather than like creating, like continuing on like his own, because I think there's a little bit of a difference, right? When people skate big rails, big ledges, or like big rails, or they do like technical ledge moves and all of that kind of stuff, and that's the way that they skate. As you get older, there's a way to kind of like tone that down in a way that's still interesting and like tasteful when it comes to like making a video part. When you skate like Richie Jackson, what do you do when you get older? Power cracker, smaller sets of stairs? Slide your feet, do the like the El Toro foot shuffle he did, but like down like a 10 stair. So like I can see him pivoting into something where he doesn't have to just skate, he can talk a whole bunch. And I mean, like, that might sound rich coming from me, but become irrelevant basically. But I'm gonna this is a podcast episode of a podcast called The Culture War with Tim Pool, and it has Richie Jackson and Taylor Silverman on it. I'm obviously not going to watch this whole thing, but I am going to kind of like jump around to like where these peaks are and listen a little bit and talk about like what they say, because I want to see what's going on here.
I was like, not right now. I'm sleeping.
Was it Freedom Plaza in Washington, D.C.? Crew was with him. There was a pro skateboarder who was in town, and his crew was with him. And I went to Washington, was it Freedom Plaza in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, you texted me that morning at like 7:30, like, want to go skate?
Yeah, we were going to D.C. because like...
I was like, not right now. I'm sleeping.
Yeah. And I see this guy that I passively know. Everybody knows this pro skateboarder who was there. Mm-hmm. I won't include him as his own private business, but he's...
Why are you bringing this up if you're not going to talk about who it was? What?
A cool dude. He's chill. He's like, I don't care. And there's another guy there who I know, passive, an acquaintance. And so I'm like talking to him, and I'm like, he's hanging out with this pro. This caused this weird backlash in the skate community, supposedly, where they were like, these people are friends with Tim Pool. He's a bigot, blah, blah, blah. They started threatening and harassing people. People were like, I think, I don't want to...
What was the level of threatening and harassment? I would like to know. I really don't know how far or how bad that was. And like, I don't know, getting backlash for hanging out with Mr. Soup Brain here. Like, I think that's yeah, just some people being like, I'm not buying your boards ever again. And that's like, oh, that's threatening and harassment. I mean, it's like technically.
I don't want to get too much into it, but I think some people might have lost their jobs just because I was there.
And this is
Talking to
Freedom
them.
Plaza of all
Freedom
places.
Plaza, of all places.
Hmm.
Oh, shut the fuck up, dude. Oh my god. Oh yeah, there's freedom under capitalism and fascism. Yeah, that makes sense.
A public park, I might add.
You know, part of me.
Thank you for thank you for chiming in, Richie. See, this is what I mean. I don't think that he's really like that hateful or that like bigoted of a person. I think he's just like a lost puppy who wants friends. And when your best tricks are laying on your back and doing like hippie tray flips over things, it's hard to have friends. He has Soup Brain? I don't think so. I think he is legitimately just a lost puppy.
Desperately wants to get just straight into the esoteric nature of all of this. So I'm going to try and explain everything because, you know, it's easy if you're a football fan and someone starts talking about all the football players and everything. And
Skateboarding's a tiny subculture, and we forget that. We forget
Right.
how small it is. It just seems so idiotic to divide it when it's already this small.
But so
then my reaction would be then, why would you try to divide skateboarding based on people's... Because the reality is about the conversation about skateboarding when it comes to trans skateboarders, the people are never talking about just in the contests. They're talking about the entire thing broadly. They're talking about trans people and queer people and women and everything being in the skate community broadly. It's not just the contests. So talking about like, oh, all this division, you're the one starting the division. Other people just, I mean, and these are the type of people who always say like, we just want to skate. The trans people are literally doing the we just want to skate thing.
let's start here, and I'll throw it to everybody. And when did you guys start noticing the changes in skateboarding, where it went from, dude, punk rock?
Oh, he's gonna start talking about skateboarding and punk rock and all this stuff. By the way, I didn't address this right away. The wokeness in skateboarding in the title thing is very rich because gay issues, gay topics, all of that kind of stuff in skateboarding was just like, or what I mean to say is like gay topics, like talking about people being gay, people being trans, all of that kind of stuff really kind of started to talk, like the conversation really started in like the 90s, and skateboarding was still, you know, throwing around the F slur and the D slur in like magazines and skate videos and stuff. And it wasn't until 2016 that someone came out as gay in skateboarding. And like skate contests didn't think that it was skate contests didn't really think that it was necessary until like 2019 to have a women's event alongside the men's for like all of their contests. Really, it wasn't until last year's X Games that there was a women's skateboarding event alongside every men's skateboarding event. It was the first time. So I don't really know where this wokeness is coming from, where this like mindset, I don't know where you see it.
Changes in skateboarding, where it went from, dude, punk rockers used to, like, Sid Vicious wore a swastika.
Mhm.
Like, here's a dude who was doing something specifically just
Yes, Sid Vicious, the most punk rocker. Sid Vicious was definitely an example of the embodiment of the punk rock spirit. Simon Ferocious, yep.
to make you angry.
Did you notice that in Sid and Nancy, they changed the swastika to a hammer and sickle?
Wait, what?
Wow.
Yeah, as if that was like not as bad. It's probably every bit as bad.
Like in the
Oh my god. Okay, I'm starting to believe the Richie Jackson soup brain allegations.
fictionalized movie.
in the
or-
fictionalized movie, they changed the swastika. They went, let's die.
But the skateboarders used to be.
I literally had to skip. I could not listen to more of him trying to explain that. Like listening to him talk is really hard.
super punk rock, super edgy, still posting videos. I really hate these videos, by the way, where people are fighting security guards. I'm like, what are you doing, man? It's not even.
What a fucking I don't necessarily love the like fighting security guards thing either, but like do you think this guy watches Rob Dyrdek's part in the DC video and he sees Big Black tackle that one security guard in that skit and he just like sheds a tear every time?
Even about don't fight the security guard. Like you shouldn't, but you are blowing up the spot. That's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
There. So we're
Oh my god, he is like literally just how do you do fellow kids, dude? It's called blowing up the spot. Yep.
gonna break this down and bring you all into the skateboard fold. So actually, can you pull up this clip, Kellen? So this is a skate spot, and this is a video of Richie Jackson doing a skateboard trick. This
Just in case you're watching this podcast and you've never heard of what skateboarding is, this is skateboarding. Just reminds me of your favorite band Sucks when they did an episode. I don't remember what band, but it was like a band from like the 60s or 70s. And one of the dudes was like, hello, old people whose kids are showing, yes, this is a podcast. You know, it's like that same vibe.
this spot, my understanding is it's not made for skateboarding, correct?
That would be correct. What is it made for? It's a playground.
It's just a playground.
It was
flat
in
circles,
Brooklyn, right?
yeah.
Where were we in Brooklyn here, Dennis?
Crown Heights or
Crown Heights,
something
yeah.
like
Oh
Dude,
man,
I remember-
used to live there.
It's near there. I forget
Well, Dennis knows the
neighborhood.
area well. I remember a guy came down. He was kind of sussing us out, whether he was going to beat us up or rob us or not. And he's like, "Yo, give me a cigarette." And Dennis had the cig, gave it to him. Like you knew the rules.
It's a rough
Kind
and
of,
tumble
I mean,
place.
It didn't
Yeah.
really even matter.
All right,
to
so
be
so
honest.
let's explain a skate spot. This place is a
Oh, it's gonna hurt listening to these dudes like explain things. This is like literally like Felix Arguelles knows Ollie levels of like explaining skateboarding. It's physically painful.
is a playground designed for who knows what. Skateboarders are like, hey, I can apply my skateboard to the things that are here that were built and make something unique. So if you go to a lot skateboard,
I also
and
love this shot, by the way, because if I do this, look, his shit, he's not even in frame talking when they split to this like here's the computer screen thing. Like what? I didn't realize that would clear the chat. Whoops.
make something unique. So if you go to a lot, skateboarders like to go to public buildings where there's
Okay, this is
handrails going.
okay. I don't care. What happens here?
Traditionally defined as a female attract. You have females. Okay, lesbian is traditionally defined as a female attracted to females.
No. It's a person from
Isn't
the
it-
island of Lesbos.
Didn't they change that
Sure.
to a non-man
Yes.
attracted to a
Well,
non-man?
There was
What's the difference? I don't understand. Like, I actually don't understand why we care. Because, like, nobody here is gay. Nobody in that room, anyway. Why do we care about what, like, the terms for, like, sexuality means? Like, you don't have a dog in this fight.
an organization that claimed lesbian means
Crazy.
non-man attracted to non-man, and it's like, but that means you could have two non-binary males and call them lesbians. So
Yes, I guess you could say that if you're fucking stupid. It's just, oh my god, dude.
what is the purpose of the word but to define a thing so people can understand?
This is the same shit, by the way, how like people always like to trip people up on the whole, like, you can't use, like, when you're like, oh, the whole, like, what is a woman thing? You can't say that a woman is somebody who identifies as a woman because that's like a circular definition. And it's like, they don't want to look at anything beyond that. They don't want to look at the thing of like, well, everything that is assigned with like womanhood is kind of societally in place, and it's not something that you can really define without showing examples. And there's plenty of other examples of this. One of the people that I hear debates from a lot uses the example of cool. You can't really define cool without using examples. It's a thing that happens in language all the time, and there are things that refer to themselves in definitions all the time in the English language and in many other languages as well. But the whole point of like conservative commentary like this is to completely abandon all logic and prior knowledge, and you're only supposed to just be as stupid as they want you to be when you're watching shit. So then when somebody says like, oh, you can't do that with that, like the English language, and you can't use the in blah blah blah, and it's like, yeah, you can.
So my point is this: there's a group called what is it called? Get the L Out. Is that what it is? No. It's I forgot what it's called, but there's yeah, I think it's Get the L Out. There's a group of lesbians in the UK that believe that LGBT doesn't make sense because LGB defines something specifically, but trans is something totally different. And so you have groups like LGB Alliance, which is lesbian, gay, and bisexual. They removed trans from it. So you have females attracted to females who they will snap with fervor, defend. If you ask them, you'll say, if a biological male showed up to a lesbian bar that said, it's for lesbians, but they were clearly male with a beard and everything, but said they were a woman, yes, they're allowed in.
Are you talking about the She Lounge?
I just see my whole entire thing, right, is I can't imagine caring about any of this if you're not queer. I literally can't. This would be to me like the equivalent of, I don't know, I don't own nor do I really have any extensive knowledge about guns. But like if I started talking to someone and I brought up all these random anecdotes about stories that I've heard about guns, I think that that's an incredibly boring conversation. Why are these guys talking about this like they're invested in it?
Wait a minute. There's something strange about this place. This lesbian bar doesn't have a fire exit.
See, and now he's trying to be funny. See, this is what I mean. He's got like the Elon Musk problem where like he desperately wants people to like him, and skateboarders didn't like him. So he decided to pivot to conservatism because he saw how much of a lack of talent there was in that arena. And so he was like, you don't have to actually be funny. You don't actually have to be personable. You don't actually have to be talented at speaking. You don't have to do any of that. I'm going to hang out with these people and try to make them laugh because I'm going to use the same jokes that they do. And they're going to love me. And somehow it worked.
Enjoy your death trap, ladies.
This guy watched too much Simpsons.
I've been at a Simpsons table read and seen Dan Castellaneta do Homer Simpson. He tucks his top lip, and I never forgot it.
Wow.
He tucks it like this.
On the
Yeah,
other
it does.
hand, though, you see like
As an aside.
Yeah.
there are a lot of lesbians who speak out about this stuff, like Ariel Scarcella.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
she
Gays
was
Against
she was
Groomers.
one of the first shows that I went on when I first spoke up. She reached out to me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Ariel," because I used to watch her show all the time. I still do now, but like before all this.
But
But it's crazy. Like at this contest, after I speak up, even some of the girls who were in the contest, there were some who were speaking up behind the scenes, and I'd heard about it through mutual friends before I finally posted. But some of them started going after me, like as if I had done something wrong, and they were really supportive of this person.
You did do something wrong. You bullied her off of the internet, and then you acted like a victim about it. I don't understand how you can do that and be like, well, I didn't do anything wrong. That's like the whole problem with the whole thing. The lack of awareness is staggering. I don't know. I tend to expect it from people like this.
And I'm thinking, well, first off, you guys weren't placed in any way. You weren't impacted. But second off, like, don't you care enough about other women who are passionate about the same thing as you to want them to have equality and for yourself to have equality?
It's so stupid because it's just like the only two contests that I've ever heard about this happening are pretty low level contests. And the thing about it is like those contests, regardless of where you place, are really just kind of more about like brands looking for scouting for you to get flowed product, really at that level, and for you to possibly get in the van and then get on the team, or like now you have a like a repertoire, or like you have like a I guess a resume of contest history when you want to go to like an Olympic qualifying event or like a Dam Am or Tampa Am or something like that. That's what these contests are for, really. And so this isn't like, if she was actually a skater that people had like their eyes on, she would have gotten a whole bunch of stuff regardless of the fact that she got second place, because that's happened to so many skaters throughout history. Throughout like the entire history of the industry, there's been like second and third and fourth place people who've gotten like really good careers out of that. So you're not really like losing out on opportunities in that instance. Again, it would be, while still stupid, a slightly stronger argument if you were talking about like Olympic skateboarding or like Street League or X Games or something like that, because that's where the placing actually kind of does matter. You go smaller than that, contests are literally just supposed to be fun, you know? And there's nothing fun about like the person who's policing what's going on and all the little things, like a little fucking teacher's pet doing the whole like, we had homework and you forgot to collect it thing, you know?
Look, I feel for you, Taylor, but part of me is just like, okay, no more women skateboarding. Have a nice day.
You know what? I'm
No more women's
28
sports.
years
Shut it
old.
down. Shut it down.
I'm getting married and getting ready to have a baby, hopefully in the next couple of years. So if women really want to deal with this stuff, I can't hold their hands and fix it for them.
This is so stupid though, because like, again, we're not talking about somebody who was on the same level as like everybody else when it came to skateboarding. Hello, Threams. We're not talking about somebody who was like doing the same, like at like some like high level or anything like that. We're talking about somebody who's like bag of tricks is board sliding A-frames and primo stalls on quarter pipes. And we're seeing women kickflip into handrails, kickflip out of handrails, flip out of ledges, flip into ledges, switch flip, huge sets of stairs, switch grinding rails. We're seeing all of this like progression happen in the last 5 years. I don't think any trans people are really coming for that. You know what I mean? And if they're competing alongside, I haven't really seen a trans woman who has, you know, wanted to compete in these events that was really going to like dethrone, because like they're just other skaters, and just like women, they didn't really have just like cis women, trans people have had like they've had their lack of This is true. And I've only really heard of one or two people. Like I've only ever heard of one person who actually was trans, a trans woman, and wanted to be in the Olympics, and she's only ever won one contest. And you watch her skate and it's like, yeah, I don't think this really, nothing against her, because she looks like she's having fun and she isn't a bad skateboarder by any means, but like I still don't think it's something that's going to compete with like Raisa Leal or Chloe Cavell or Momiji or Funa Nakayama or Lizakama or anyone like that. Like I think that they're fine. I don't think that like letting that specific trans person into these contests is really gonna like affect that in any real way.
it's their problem. But I will keep speaking up about it because I want to have kids and I don't want my daughters to not have the same opportunities that I had in sports. And it impacts every sport, not just skateboarding. I don't care what sport my future hopeful daughter loves one day. I want her to be able to succeed in that if she works hard.
Oh,
in
she's
it.
got to skate.
I hope
gotta-
she.
Well, it's just like this is always something that gets way overblown, not even just in skateboarding, but in regular sports. Yeah. We're talking about the fact that she's a professional skateboarder now, apparently. Yeah, mid-segment. Oh, exactly. But whenever this happens, it's like one trans woman or like one trans girl who wants to like run in track in like an entire school district. And then like it's like making a mountain out of a molehill about like there's like this huge problem happening in women's sports or whatever. And it's like, well, you weren't even gonna go to the track meet to begin with. So why are you crying?
She skates. If she doesn't
Well,
skate, I'm going to be really sad.
It'll be up to you. You got to buy a skateboard for your daughter. and
Yeah,
then-
Okay.
Go forward with Olympics.
Okay. So what happens is Baker, female.
Oh God. we are just I just skip around and we find that we're misgendering the literally the like one of the fucking goats, dude.
Competes against females, wins, does very well. More power to now Leo. At one point, says publicly, I am trans and I am Leo, but continues to skate against females.
That is not what happened at all. That is actually oh my God. When Leo came out, he stopped competing in fucking contests. He literally just puts out video parts now. Dude, this is what I'm saying, man. People are getting their information from this fucking piece of shit who is just going to say whatever he wants to about anything, and it's not true. 2019 X Games was the last contest that Leo competed in under his dead name against women. 2020 rolls around, Leo starts Glue. Leo literally commits his whole career to doing nothing but putting out street parts. This is false information. Leo has not entered a contest other than Women's Battle at the Barracks. And that was the last one. And Battle at the Barracks is a contest that goes on for months. You compete in the first round, and then it's like a few weeks until round 2, and then a couple weeks till round 3, and then you've got the final. In that process, that was months of time where Leo actually started to identify more as non-binary and actually went by a different name for a short amount of time, and that was actually the name that he was under when he competed in the final. But even at that point, like, he identified as non-binary and was using they them pronouns, and like had not started hormones or anything like that as far as I know. And therefore, like, from that angle, it's like, well, that's not really like any sort of like advantage or like any sort of weird thing there, because it's not like a male identity like what it manifested into later. So I don't why are we spreading false information?
Later on, says, you know what? I'm actually not a trans man. I'm non-binary, actually.
That, again, this is completely revisionist. Leo identified as non-binary and then identified as trans.
And so I'm calling shenanigans on that.
Why do you think that is, Tim?
Look,
dude, I hate the little chime-ins from Richie. You can just not be here, dude. You're not contributing to the conversation at all.
Is it
Why
possibly
are we
because
not-
there are biological differences between male and female? That
Impossible. Leo
are
ba-
not-
It doesn't matter what the biological differences are because Leo looks way better on a skateboard than any of the people in this room. And also anybody who's in this place right now.
Not at the same
Impossible.
level
Would-
athletically.
would not qualify for the male X Games.
Yeah.
No question. I do not believe there is a sport so obviously depicting the differences between males and females than skateboarding.
This is actually not true. Fair enough. Appreciate it. Dude, but like the thing is like, this is not true. Skateboarding in the last 5 years for women has progressed very fast. You have girls, like I just said, flipping into handrails, flipping out of handrails. I mean, we're seeing just last year, Raisa Leal was trying kickflip front blunts on handrails. Do you know how high you have to pop to do a kickflip front blunt on a handrail? And the main like point of contention of like, oh, what biological advantage does a man have over a woman has always been center of gravity. Everybody's talking about, oh, center of gravity. Women's are lower, so they can't pop as high. She was getting into kickflip front blunts on handrails in a contest. That requires a lot of pop. I do think that there is going to be a point where the women who skate these contests are going to catch up to the men who skate in the contests. Legitimately, I think that's going to happen because they're progressing at such a rapid rate at this point. And so being like, oh, skateboarding is like the one sport that shows the biggest difference between like the biological differences between men and women. No, it's not. At all. It's far from it, actually. I think it's the one sport that kind of makes you think, huh, maybe there aren't. Sure, men can jump higher than women. Oh, exactly. Because when it comes to skating in a contest, okay, here's the thing about skating a contest. Because there's, again, when you are somebody like this, and the thing about being a conservative, just the reality of it is you look at the world in a very, very simplistic way. So everything that requires a little bit of nuance and things that you don't see from immediately looking at it is beyond them and just does not exist and isn't real. So here's the thing about competing in contests like X Games, Street League, whatever. It's not some like crazy out of thin air, these people just pull these tricks out of their asses. They're at skate parks and training facilities when they're not in the contests, learning these tricks hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. I've got to do this trick like 9 times out of 10. I've got to be able to do it like nearly every single time because I need it to be there when it counts so I can do it first or second try in the contest so I can get points and win. And so the whole like men can jump higher thing really only means that in like the beginning of learning how to skate, maybe women are always going to have a little bit of a tougher time learning how to do these tricks and learning how to skate those types of obstacles. But once they've got it, they've got it. Like it takes a little bit more effort, but if the technicality of like the depth of the bag of tricks is the same and the technical level is the same, like we get to a point where it's like, what's a kickflip crook on this hubba in the men's? 7.8. What's the kickflip crook on this hubba in the women's? A 7.8. Then what's the difference? This might sound like a joke or something, but I'm being dead serious. I'm coming from the perspective that yes, men are stronger, faster, and can jump higher than women. Yeah, exactly. Because, well, and also like, right, exactly. If that was the case, then like Wrecking Ball would be the greatest skater of all time. Yeah, exactly. Nobody really like cares about all these little things. Does it make certain tricks easier? Yes, but like the whole thing about what happens with progression and skateboarding is it is literally seeing other people show you what is possible. And so if you see what's possible because other girls are doing that same thing, then you're like, huh, if I get to that level, I know I can do that at the very least because I've seen girls do that before, therefore it's possible for girls to do that. And then more and more generations of that go on, and then the girls who learn all of that will learn more. And then that inspires the next generation because they're like, oh, now I see what's possible for us to do and blah, blah, blah. And that is happening at such a fast rate. We're talking about like 16-year-old girls influencing like 11 and 12-year-old girls at this point right now. That's how fast like these generations are coming in for women skateboarding. It's pretty insane, and it's really interesting to watch, to the point where like women's skateboarding is actually more entertaining than the men's at this point, because the men are so robotic and it's the same boring ass tricks where it's like, yeah, maybe the women do some of the same tricks, but they've only been putting those tricks down in like, I don't know, runs for like the last 2 years or something like that. So it's like, it's a little bit more impressive and there's a little bit more meaning behind it in my eyes. And these guys just pretend that none of that is happening. And they look at skateboarding as, they're using the rhetoric that conservatives use for sports that do require physical strength and jump height and speed and everything like that, to talk about skateboarding, where sure, those things are really all they're going to do is just maybe help you be a better athlete and skate longer, but that doesn't change how you look on a board and how hard of tricks you can do. It really is, yes.
The apex of, we can discernibly say men and women have different capabilities. Males and females are at different levels when it comes to sporting events. No question. Relevance. So I think if Taylor was killed, it would be an assassination.
Oh, great.
I just skipped to that. Oh my God, what are we talking about, dude? What does this devolve into?
But maybe
That
like,
makes
on the
me
line.
feel so important.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's gonna happen, guys. Calm down.
Do you know what
I just say?
Me one time, Tim was like, "Do you want a vest?" And I was like, "No, I don't want a vest."
That was when we publicly announced we were going to be in this location weeks in advance.
Yeah.
And told everyone to come. And I said it would be kind of funny if we were skating in bulletproof vests.
Mm-hmm.
And then we decided not to.
See, and it's always funny because like, this reminds me of when I think it was the YouTuber Mr. Repzion. He took Onision to court, or like some YouTuber took him to court, and Onision showed up to court wearing a bulletproof vest backwards. This just gives me the same energy as that, of being like, we should wear bulletproof vests to a skate event because these woke liberal skaters are gonna shoot us like they're Proud Boys. That's really funny.
To do it. Okay. This is like, nothing's gonna happen.
Well, they're
Nothing did
pretty
happen.
heavy. Permissible.
No, I think it's a small percentage of people, but
Okay.
good people do nothing. And all that is required for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing.
That's on.
What the fuck are you talking about?
all
They're
that is.
just, they're just getting really comfortable.
We'll just get along.
They're not turning evil. They've always been evil.
Uh-huh.
All
They're
that is.
just getting really.
All that
Why
is
can't
required
we
for.
all just get along?
They're not turning card games, movies, comics.
Which is odd. It seems antithetical to the spirit of skateboarding.
Agreed.
Yeah.
There is.
What are you-
Rapes.
Yeah.
I think here you have someone who is bad at skateboarding, who wishes they were better. They see someone like me, and they're like, I'm angry this person is better than me. They shouldn't be. What can I do to hurt them?
This is so rich, dude. Coming from this dude talking about the situation that happened to the lady that's in the room when we're looking exactly at what happened to her. Oh my God, dude. Oh, it's so painful.
I know we're very much like in the skateboarding track, but this is everything. You name it, video games, card games, movies, comics, basketball, you know?
So why is
cycling.
everybody...
Is the basketball thing, are we talking about, God, I always forget her name. What's the one lady, WNBA player who got like arrested in Russia and like everybody like transvestigates because Brittany Griner, thank you. Is that it? Is that all we're saying? Are we literally are we just hinging on the whole Brittany Griner is actually trans thing? Is that why we said basketball?
Turning evil.
All that
Why
is
can't
required
we
for.
all just get along?
They're not turning evil. They've always been evil.
Uh-huh.
All that is.
They're just getting.
Oh, I
All
should
I
use
require
that.
We all
for-
just get along.
They're not turning evil. They've always been evil.
That. I don't know if that's going to work for the thumbnail for what this video is actually fully about.
Evil. They've always been evil.
Uh-huh.
All
They're
that is.
just, they're just getting really comfortable.
So you
doing
think
it publicly.
looked
you think
stupid
this is
for
the
like
core of
10
human
years.
nature rearing its ugly head and showing itself now that it's permissible?
No, I think it's a small percentage of people, but
Okay.
good people do nothing. And all that is required for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing.
That's almost a worse problem.
Yeah.
Like, if people just sit back and let shit happen, it doesn't get resolved, and then it creates this illusion that everybody actually agrees with the bad stuff that's happening.
So what you're saying is
But what's the bad stuff that's happening? Trans women have won 2 contests in the entirety of women's skateboarding events. 2. The only the majority of trans skateboarders actually just prefer to like film footage for like Instagram and street parts. They don't really care about contests because contests are a lot more of examples of like that more rigid like men versus women mentality there. And because of that, they usually just don't want a whole part of anything that's segregating people by gender in general. So they'd rather be like in a group of people where like literally none of that matters and we're just like having fun at skate parks or street spots. Like, this is just such like a non-issue. But again, it's the conservative way, making a mountain out of a molehill again.
the answer is violence.
No, but it's people like having a spine.
But what harm has
Who is-
violence
wait,
ever
wait,
done?
wait, Kathy Newman.
Speak.
That was your Kathy Newman. Remember when she was interviewing Jordan Peterson, and he's just like, some people are mean, and then she's like, so what you're saying is you hate women? He's like, what? I didn't say that at all.
You do a pretty good
That was
Jordan
mean.
Peterson.
No, it's my day off. Leave me alone.
I met
See, and he's that's the hard part about watching every little clip that I like jump to is just like yeah.
Jordan Peterson in DC. Ran into him.
Oh, that's cool.
He was like, "Oh, you work for Timcast. It's a very dangerous company."
Dangerous.
Also, shout out to Mr. Peterson for backing skateboarders.
Oh yeah,
all the
he's
way.
a
That's right.
he's a fan.
No, he didn't. What Richie Jackson or what Jordan Peterson said about skateboarders was that you should leave them alone because they're always trying the most like death-defying stunts or anything like that. And it's like, yeah, death-defying. I'm rock and rolling a quarter pipe and slappy nose sliding a curb. Yeah, death-defying. He's just a wiener.
But the issue is, you get these woke people. They don't care about skateboarding. They care about their cult, I guess.
It reminds me of a Buddhist parable that I'll share with you if I may. A man once traveled
Oh my god, dude.
far and wide to see it all. I think that's disagree.
Credit.
You're not an immortal. Go on. So you're not the Buddha. All right.
I think a lot of these people, not every single one, some people maybe just wanted to skate. But why were rumors spread that I was going to tear down their skate park? Why would a skateboarder of 2.5 decades say, I am going to destroy a skate park? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. If anything, I'm like, I'm going to expand your skate park and preserve your right to skate here. It's crazy, right? Why would they spread these lies?
Plot twist. We had a private meeting and we are thinking about demolishing.
And vote for Trump.
So that way,
So we want to build a park. We want to expand. And so when
Oh
we
my
were
god.
locals, I don't understand why you would kill the baby. If the woman wants to end the
What are this conversation goes on so many jumps. Just talk about the skateboarding. I don't want to watch your whole 2-hour thing.
Let's bring down the house.
also,
so you destroyed this house
Allegedly.
I thought first night.
Well,
and had to pay for it.
over the course of like 3 generations,
People, I guess,
more or less.
Go to
it's
where
like-
he wins.
I mean,
A
yeah.
reaction?
American brand.
Vans
He's
can't
just got
Oh, they're
falling off
just,
the building.
I don't care.
This is how over end the axis would make it flip. The other way is flip end over end. Technically
Means to an end.
completing the challenge. However, did around his foot. Technically,
oh
what Rodney Mullen did. Get this on camera. The board doing a backflip.
oh
What Rodney Mullen did was
Oh my
he
god,
wrapped
dude.
it around his foot. Technically,
Means to an end.
completing the challenge. However, wrapping your foot technically makes the board flip end over end, but this has turned. It is not a board flip. It is using your foot to. So here's the issue.
Who cares if the Ollie? Oh, I'm done, dude. Who cares if the Ollie Impossible is a flip trick or not? Okay, dude. So yeah, these are the people that are going to be pushing the new guard of skateboarding and bringing us new professional skateboarders and new skateboarding content that's in a skate park, because the fucking barracks is having so many financial issues and having to do all their shit, and they're going to be gone and all of that, and we get to just deal with these people. Frankly speaking, this is like if you had to choose between having a conversation with Tim Pool and having a conversation with Steve Barra, I would probably ask you in which room am I closer to a gun, and probably pick that one. But if that's not an option, I'd probably pick Steve Barra over Tim Pool for sure, even though that's pretty hard to pick between. Just wow, this is fantastic. Yay. Yeah, I don't even know if I got my full thought out for like all of this, because like every time that I was trying to explain something, just like they said something stupid, or every single time. My main point is trans people have only competed in a very small amount of contests, have only ever won 2. I guess, who won women's battle at the barracks? If we want to be real technical, if Leo won that, then I guess 3 contests. But that's still 3 out of the many that have happened over the years. You will not see one trans woman competing in any X Games event, any Street League event, any Olympic qualifying event, or the Olympics, any Dew Tour. You're very unlikely to find them in a lot of amateur contests. You're only going to maybe find 1 or 2 in a very small amount of local community contests where they're literally just open invite and you can sign up for whatever. And when we are talking about street footage, you can go on Thrasher right now. Go on Thrasher's YouTube channel and you can scroll for a very long time. There are multiple pages here where there's not even a cis woman in any of these videos. It's all straight dudes. You can watch so much of this without seeing a single person that's not just like a cis straight dude. There's hours and hours of content. It's just like making such a big deal out of something that isn't real, which again is like literally every conservative talking point that exists. Anyone have any closing thoughts? Leo Baker is a king? Absolutely.